But you need to think about how you do things, and you need to think about how you're going to achieve the goals that you set, and it will give you the power to succeed. Now, some of the tools that I was able to use, I can briefly go over with you. And you can try them out. You can see if they work. You can see if they don't work. It's just information that's helped me. Hopefully, it will be able to help you. Note cards, as you can tell. I use note cards. I never did an outline the whole 2 years. I did half of an outline for the intro class because we had to. But my notes from the class were my outline. I hand wrote all my notes, and that was my outline. Then I would transfer ideals or parts of that to note cards, and I would review it each term. Mostly this happened around week 11, 12, that I would go through my notes. I would write down my note cards and go through them. But that system worked for me because I could take the note cards anywhere. Obviously, I didn't have a lot of time, so anywhere I could go, I could run through those things. Now, they preach a lot about outline dumping. I never had a problem, and I believe, my belief is because I never had an outline. I only had a note card. So whenever I would write my essays, a certain concept would come up, and only that note card would come to my mind. So that's where I ended. I mean, I ended at the note card. If there had to be more information, I had to pull up another note card in my mind. I don't know, you can take it for what it's worth. It seemed to work for me. Another thing I would do is when I was writing my notes, I would use different colors for different weeks so I could go back and find the information quickly. Briefs. My briefs were always as simple as I could possibly do. Each professor is different. Each professor may come out and tell you how they want their briefs. And I mean, you should always try to comply with what they tell you. But the least amount of information to get the brief is what I would do because I didn't have time. I didn't have time to be reading 5 classes, briefing, each case, and doing my note cards because, I mean, Monday through Saturday, I was busy doing something, going to class, reading. I just didn't have the time. So my briefs were very short. I often would fit them on 1 page at the most. And I mean, I know briefs are a powerful tool to help people understand the cases, but for me, making it as simple as possible allowed me to be able to cycle through them faster and be able to get what I needed done in a timely manner. The other thing with exams is you don't have to get them all right. I'm a perfectionist, and it's really hard for me because I want to do everything right. I want to do everything right the first time. But in law school, you don't have to get every question right. I don't know how many times that I would go through an exam and get to that last essay, and there's like 20 minutes left. I mean, I would write everything that I could, but I know that I wasn't getting all the points. You don't have to get them all right. You just have to get a lot of them right. And you have to get them right in the right way. If you're able to do that, then you'll be successful in writing essays. Backwards planning is another concept taught in the military. I don't know many are familiar with it, but you end with the final date, which is easy in law school. Finals week 14. You know when the final is. So you plan backwards from there. Well, if I want to do well in the final, then I better be looking at essays, in week 12. I better have my note cards done by week 10, which means I'm going to have to read a little bit in advance for those last couple of classes. I should meet with my professor in week 8 to discuss any questions. If you plan backwards like that, you'll always have enough time to do whatever it is that you need to do. And then by the time you get to that final point, you'll be ready. Now, I know they teach a lot of IRAC and IRFR and other methods about how to write essays. Some professors will tell you forget about it. Other professors will say we love it. Other professors will say just do whatever it is that you do. For me, I never really got stuck in any particular pattern. The only thing I would do is I would remember 4 words. I would remember is, means, because, and here. And when I would come across a fact pattern and I would see an issue, I would see, well, the issue is this. This means this. This means this because this. And here in this case is this. And just fill in the blanks. I would remember it is, means, because, here. And if I did that with every issue that I could find, I usually did just fine on my essays. So like I said, these tools, they may help you. They certainly aren't all of them that are available out there. This school has a wonderful program for helping people, for helping students with any type of problems. The ARC is wonderful. I would advise, that you just take a minute and think about how it is that you do things. Develop that system. And once you have that, you'll be more than successful, I guarantee you. So a little more about my story. This isn't the first time that I applied to law school. I applied in '04. And I applied to schools in Illinois, my home state, and basically received a letter from all of them telling me I wasn't good enough. Didn't do very well in the LSAT. Grades were mediocre. My dream to be a lawyer almost ended at that point in time. I continued, and I worked as a police officer. I was deployed to Afghanistan and a couple other things. But I got to the point where I just wasn't going to give up. And I applied again. I applied to 7 schools. And once again, the 5 schools I applied to in Illinois told me I wasn't good enough. I wasn't going to be able to succeed in their school. Cooley gave me that opportunity. Cooley allowed me to be able to be here to accomplish what I did. It allowed me to actually achieve part of my dream of being a lawyer. And for that, I'm very grateful. And I just want you to know, I'm sure Victor's going to get up here and say the same thing. There is nothing special about us. We are not, IQ 180. At least I know I'm not. Victor I didn't do anything incredibly out of the ordinary. I'm just an ordinary person like you guys. Most of you who know me, I'm just a down-to-earth guy. I've had plenty of failures. I've had plenty of things that didn't work out. But following these concepts, I was able to do what I was able to do, what Dan was able to describe to me. I started out by saying this is great because it's a true story, but I think I misspoke because it's not just one true story. There are many true stories. In here, each and every one of you is a true story. How that story ends is completely left in your hands. Hopefully what I've said will help you achieve your goals and help you achieve success. And finally, I'll leave you with just another quote from Abraham Lincoln when he said that some achieve great success is proof that all others can achieve as well. Thank you.
All right. So, Marines and sailors have a very unique relationship to each other as far as the military goes. We'll go out to the bar and kick the crap out of each other. But if a civilian ever tried to jump in, the Marines got the sailors back, sailors got the Marines back. It's kind of like a sibling rivalry thing, where only I'm allowed to pick on it. We're not going to say who the older brother is, but history will bear that out. In a couple of months, I thought. I do love my Marine Corps brothers, though. They're always the first to go and last to know. That's one of their unwritten mottos. So hopefully I can do his introduction justice. Hopefully. But I got Marine joke. Navy guy goes to the bar, sits down next to this guy and says, "Hey, you want to hear a Marine joke?" Like, wait, before you tell this joke, I'm going to tell you 3 things. 1, I'm 6 foot, 225, I'm a Marine. Number 2, the guy next to me, 6'2", 240. He's a Marine. The guy next to him, same size. He's a Marine. Do you really want to tell this joke right now? Say looks up and says, "Nah, I want to explain it 3 times." Love you anyway, man. Yeah. All right. Once again, his bio is too long for me to memorize, so I'm just going to read it right off here. He enlisted in the Marines in June 2001, and like our first speaker, was also an infantryman. He was first deployed to South America, and after moving up through the ranks, was deployed to Iraq in 2004, where he led a team of Marines on raids and patrols. This is the kind of stuff that the movie writers and TV writers try to do. He's actually done, and probably doesn't look anything like what they wrote down here. The stories he brought home are something that he'll share with you on an individual basis if he wants to. I'm not going to make him do that today. He got back to the States in 2005, where he was training junior Marines at a reserve unit in Texas. He started his adventures here at law school in January 2009 and finished in 8 terms like a normal person does. While he was here, he served at SBA as a senator and the treasurer, the American Bar Associated Law Student Division as a class rep, the 6th Circuit Lieutenant Governors of Internal Communications of the ADA, Delta Theta Pi fraternity member, pillar contributing writer, and most recently the founder and president of the Military Veterans Law Student Association. He's been on the Dean's List, received 2 certificates of merit, and received the Alumni Distinguished Student Award and Student Leadership Award. He's the guy that's talking tomorrow at graduation. Feel for him for that too. And just to show that it's not impossible to do, for the last 3 years, he's been married, and they made a long-distance relationship work. It can be done. It almost takes a Marine's resolve to do it. Now it's time to turn the floor over to the man, the myth, the legend, the Godfather, who once told me that happiness is a belt-fed weapon.
That's quite embarrassing, but all right. Alex is a great guy. He's giving you a lot of practical advice and just things you can do every day. And I don't need to go over the same material, so I'm going to go and address it from an attitude standpoint, how to get there emotionally, mentally. Forgive me, I don't have this memorized, but I've been working on my graduation speech. So I'm really nervous about that one, so bear with me. Law school will evaluate your level of intellect as well as your level of dedication, determination, and general level of mental and emotional endurance. If you come out of law school and feel like you weren't challenged, and one of 2 things happened. One, the law school you went to failed to prepare you for the profession of law, or 2, you simply didn't try hard enough. Both results have caused the lack of qualified lawyers in today's market. There are a lot of lawyers, however, few live up to the creed that is displayed on our temple building, that we are fitting ourselves to become ministers of justice. It's a pretty heavy burden to carry, and it's something we should all take with all seriousness. Point being, law school is not intended to be a walk in the park. However, it's not impossible. As general topics of advice, I encourage everyone to 1, connect with one another and assist each other in establishing camaraderie. Sorry, help me out here. Yeah, you see, everybody knows it. I just want everybody to say it so they understood. Thanks. And support. 2, endure, which Alex touched on. And something I'd like to extend the discussion is without losing focus on what your main principal reason for being here, graduating law school, without losing that focus, remember that the end goal is to become a lawyer. So always be vigilant for opportunities to network and prepare yourself for the job hunt. A lot of times I think we forget to plan for that, and we wait too late when we're graduating and we're trying to find jobs all of a sudden. First, connect with one another and assist each other. Here as graduates, as members of Military Veterans Law Student Association, right? By any chance? Can you raise your hands if you're a member of MVLSA? Okay. If you're not, organizations was created last year. Started off with 8 members, and within like 3 or 4 months, we bumped up to about 30. And our main purpose was to encourage and foster the family environment that's found in the military. And so we're not We don't single anybody out. If you're a family member of a veteran, if you yourself are a veteran or currently serving in the military, or you just want to be hang around vets, we're pretty good, fun group to hang around with. I know the group's expanded. We do some really cool social events. I think you have a ski shoot coming up. So you never fired a weapon. I think it might be something you're interested in doing. It's really fun. it is addictive. So. Yeah, we started this to create this brother sisterhood that is so apparent in the military service, and we wanted to translate that over into our organization. Law school is a challenge, and although it's going to come down to fierce determination and hard work, it's equally important to have a great support base to help you in those moments when you think you can't go on. Help each other out. If you don't get connected with our group, get connected with another student group. It's really important. As Alex was saying, it's going to come down. You're going to come down to some moments, especially around finals. Who was in their first year? Second year? Oh, second. So we have a good mix. Especially if you're in your first year, get connected with a group. I know you feel like you don't have enough time, but just connecting with other people when it comes down to finals, you're going to need somebody to kind of vent with and relate to you, because a lot of your family and friends, they don't understand what you're going through. It's really important to have that support system. Second, endure. Having a support group base is great. However, there are some things that only you can change. There are moments that success will come down to how much you want it. And Professor Hicks, I'd like to introduce Professor Hicks to you if you don't know him. He's, I think, one of Cooley's finest professors. A great mentor, and if he's gone out of his way to help me out and help out a lot of veterans in school, and also just general student body. If you have questions, he's always willing to lend an ear. So he's a great guy. So. But Professor Hicks, you still do that seminar with?
Good for this group. I think thanks to Carlo and Dan.
Yes.
A lot, guys. And week 5,
Okay.
I'll be giving my little dog and pony show on just some tips on how to maybe succeed a little bit better on multiple choice. Then at the end of the term, I'm going to do that again for another group, for Christian Legal Society with Professor Wagner. And I think you want to hear something really great. Professor Wagner's tips on writing good essay answers is really terrific. Alex, it's actually very similar to what Alex, isn't it, Wayne? It's very similar to what Alex just talked about. He gives a little bit longer talk on just that topic. Incredibly valuable. So I would